Hey, and welcome back to Fan Talk. Today we're going to be covering the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian.
Woo! Mandalorian!
It's a mandatory Mandalorian.
That's right.
So, as you all guys all know, Disney Plus launched last Tuesday. Yeah. The first episode of Mandalorian was available upon release, and then they dropped the second episode last Friday.
Yeah.
And so we have 2 now of this great show to talk
about. And I just want to start off with this statement because we're all Star Wars fans here. And we've had a rocky roller coaster of Star Wars movies of recent. But I can say, even going as far back as the prequel movies, I haven't seen anything like this except maybe Rogue One. Rogue One was good, but I mean this is a win. This is
like pure Star Wars.
This is a win for Disney.
Also, by the way, spoilers.
Spoilers. If you haven't seen this yet, you're gonna want to hit pause, watch it, then come back and hit play.
Or just put this on repeat.
Yes.
While you go back and watch it.
That's even better. Since we're bringing that up, don't forget to like and subscribe, folks. Help us out, and then tell your friends, and keep tuning in and watching, and like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff.
Back to Mandalorian.
All right.
Let's start with episode 1.
Episode 1.
Before we hit episode 1, I'm going to tell you. Disney Plus hit their whole home run on this one series.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everyone who has children has some old school, VHS of, Beauty and the Beast or something.
I've already introduced my kids to A Flight of the Navigator.
And I'm telling you, it's great. They banked everything on the Mandalorian, and they're winning.
And they're going to win.
Winning.
Yeah, because we start off in this first episode, and I mean, there's just Easter eggs. I'll just say this. That's in the very first opening of this film, you feel like you're in a Star Wars film.
Oh, yeah. It's a
you
Star
are
Wars movie.
You are at home. Immediately you settle in and you feel at home. You don't feel like they're pushing anything new on you.
You don't have to learn a new universe.
You don't have to learn a new universe. You don't feel like all of a sudden that a Force Ghost is going to appear and shoot lightning at something. You're just like, this is pure Star Wars, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have the Mandalorian. He even gets in the bar fight in the opening scene. Grapples that guy and pulls him back in. I'm like,
yeah, he shoots him and he reels the guy back in. Typical, And I like the whole opening scene. Where the guy sits there and he's like, "Oh, thanks for letting me go or helping me out," and he's all like, "Oh no, buddy. You're just my bounty now."
And
right?
he has a whole collection of the carbonite people oppressed.
Yeah, and then they get to his ship and he just pushes in there and freezes him.
That's the first time in Star Wars that we've seen a bathroom.
It is the first time you've seen a bathroom in Star Wars.
Yep. But we get to see a bit more of the trade of being a bounty hunter. Turning them in, getting paid, choosing your jobs, getting those discs that has the new mark on it.
It talked a little bit about the guild and basically that there's rules. It's kind of like almost even whenever you look at the John Wick series,
I knew that was coming.
That there's rules, right? There's these rules of bounty hunting basically.
I have the contract. Want to share? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain rules that they follow, and I really like that if you think about it, the books touched a lot on the Mandalorian race. The movies really haven't.
The Clone Wars series.
The Clone Wars talked a little bit about it, but even the Clone Wars, Boba Fett was he had Mandalorian armor.
No, I'm talking the anime.
Had armor. Keep in mind, Boba Fett was what? A clone.
Yes.
Yeah, of his dad, Jango Fett.
He was really not Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right?
Even Jango Fett, he wasn't actually in the military, and they even criticized him for wearing the armor.
Yeah. So, but in this, the Mandalorian, he is a true Mandalorian.
And he's trying to earn some more of the armor back, apparently.
Yeah, well, the material that the armor is made from.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Mandalorians, they earned armor as they went.
Yes.
Right? So you notice a lot of his attire is pretty battle-worn.
Yeah.
Helmet brand new, which means he just earned that helmet.
Yeah. And then the shoulder pad that
he shoulder pad he just got. And also, it's one of those things talked about, that is it true you never take your helmets off? And it's once you earn it, you probably don't.
Yeah. And that little flashback to him being taken, which implied that, they either taking into that life as a young child. They assume that flashback was his. But one thing about the series so far is in the first 2 episodes, every scene has had him in it.
Yes.
It hasn't been what's happening elsewhere, he doesn't know about. You only know what he sees.
Yeah, it's his story.
Yeah.
He is about the Mandalorian. And I really like his character, too, because it's really shown him as a true, almost like a Han Solo-esque kind of character, a ruffian. I mean, he's not a good guy,
But you just
but
have the
he's
heart.
not a bad guy. He is a guy there to do a job.
Well, I think the big part of it is not just that he's a good guy or a bad guy or whatever. I think it really shines a light on a lot of what's going on in the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
Because
After the
we've
fall of the
got
Empire. It's
yeah,
5 years
the
after
whole
Jedi.
Skywalker Empire saga going on, and that's in the capital cities, and the small guys are going to war. All this stuff's going on, right?
Yeah.
So, like Return of Jedi, the poor contractors that died still building the
The Death Star.
So, anyway,
Poor contractors.
poor contractors,
They
right?
even touch on this a little bit in the show where they say, like, well, the Empire's gone, the credits are no good here.
Exactly, but we know from the story that the Empire's not gone. They're just kind of relegated to a couple of factions, the Outer Rim.
They're rebuilding. They're having a building year.
Yeah, and
they're
they're
rebuilding.
but the Mandalorians are the same thing because they were a huge, factor. They actually fought with the Empire against the Jedis. They were like legit bad guys, right? I mean, like not bad guys, like
Tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
tough. They were the Spartans, right?
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
the
So,
Spartans of
and-
the universe,
and,
basically.
that kind of eludes in their armor and things, right? So, as their structure, their family, their planet
Their
broke
tribe,
down, their
yeah.
tribe, right? They said, "Well, this is great because after the Great Purge,
Yeah.
which means it was pretty tragic for them too. Now they're starting to rebuild their own stuff." So,
Yeah. And so the first episode was really a lot about him getting this bounty. And,
From an Imperial looking source.
yeah, from
Yeah.
imperial source of sorts. And it was very interesting because there's a scientist type who really wants whatever the bounty to come back alive.
Yeah, very.
Very adamant that happened. But yet you got the imperial guy who's just like, he doesn't seem to really want it alive, but the person alive, but he, definitely is like, well, that's what he wants, but I'm being pragmatic. I'm saying if it doesn't come back alive, he doesn't come back alive.
I just need proof we accomplished the mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I'm reading it is between the lines is scientist wants this guy alive, we really don't.
Yeah, we don't care. About
Yeah, we don't
Well,
really
they
care.
might kill him when it arrives.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, then he goes to this desert-ish kind of planet. Leaves a spacecraft and then goes on a little journey to, along with some help of a local, to get to this. Not really a village; it's more just like an encampment, a single building, and it's heavily defended by.
Heavily defended.
Runs into a attack droid played by Taika Waititi, which adds some good humor to that scene with the I'm going to self-destruct every couple
Yeah,
seconds.
the IG in it. Yeah.
IG-11,
IG-11.
definitely suicidal. I'm glad they upgraded when we did IG-88, right?
Yeah.
Which adds a lot of truth to Han on Hoth. They hit it. I didn't hit it that hard. It self-destructed. This is why they
Yeah.
have tendencies.
Yeah. And also the scene is great because it showed how good the Mandalorian is at improvising and attacking, jumping on the cannon, swinging
Yeah.
around. It showed how he can think his way out of a situation.
Yeah, he's not just a strong warrior, he's a thinker.
Yeah.
He's smart. And he's also very political. If you think about it, like even with the guy that helped him, he knows how to treat people. So he's one of those guys that knows how to treat people. So he's like, hey, if somebody helps me, you tip them, you take care of them, you
I'll
help
give you some of
people.
my bounty, or-
I'll give you some of my bounty. He's fair. He's
Yeah.
not like this greedy
No,
evil
yeah,
man.
no.
He's
Shoot him in the back
definitely
afterwards,
shoot in
yeah.
the back afterwards. He has a lot of honor. He's like definitely like about fair trade.
So we're talking about this, and most of us get these attributes from people from
Yeah.
facial expressions
Expressions,
and
yeah.
how we look, right? So you've got nothing. You got a guy in armor,
Yeah.
right? And we're already getting some personality from him because of
The body posture acting is good.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's doing great on that part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he does speak when need to, but he definitely man a few words.
Yeah, and yet you still get all these character
Yeah.
traits out of him. So we get in there, and the IG unit is there, and he works a deal with them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Instead of fighting each other, to help each other. And they get in, and they're looking for this bounty who's supposed to be 50 years old. And
Well, it is 50 years old.
in all honesty, but when they look, they don't see anybody except it looks like a little pod
Floating,
which turns out to be a baby carriage. Let's just be honest, it's a baby carriage.
Yeah.
And it opens up, and what should be appear, but
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know
the species.
because we've had
End of show,
Yoda,
guys.
we've had Yaddle, right?
yeah,
They've never explored that
Name of the species.
Species,
Yeah.
planet,
So
none
for-
of that stuff.
yeah.
So
So-
this is brand new.
Yeah.
I think the internet in general is referring to it as Baby Yoda, and we're being very clear. This is not Yoda. This is 5 years after Yoda died.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
just meaning that it is a baby of Yoda's species.
Yeah,
Yes,
which has
yes.
no name up until right now.
Yeah.
It might very soon.
Right.
But yeah, and so
With those big
the
black
IG
eyes.
unit just breaks out the gun. And, the big black eyes are super cute.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
just
the
be
cutest
honest,
damn
it's
baby.
cute as hell. And he pulls out the gun. And he's like, "My bounty wants it dead." And you hear the shot, and then
the IG
the
unit
IG unit
falls.
falls down, and obviously our Mandalorian has killed the robot.
And the big question is, did he care, or did he just want more money?
Or you just want more money because he gets more if the bounty's
Yeah.
alive.
But then you see him kind of like,
Yeah, but it's still kind of like you don't really know. I mean, he could be that he cares and it's a baby, and in his mind it's a baby, and he doesn't want it to be killed. But realistically, it can also be it's worth more
Yeah,
to it.
it's
He's worth more to be
alive.
alive than dead.
Yep, bring it in warm.
okay, I'm going to hit pause on the conversation here and just explore one thing that I had a slight problem with and tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Baby Yoda is 50 years old.
Yes.
Old, real Yoda was what, 900?
He has 900 and something when he died.
Yeah.
When he died. Okay, so let's assume a times 10, lifespan for the Yodas. That would mean that I guess this kid is what, about 50?
Yeah.
And so it would be a 5-year-old then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe just a little bit more than just a
5,
baby.
6-year-old.
In the second episode, he seemed a bit older than just a pure baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe like, somewhere around 3 to 4. I just, the
Terrible
50 seemed,
twos.
yeah, so they don't reach, like, I guess, growing up until, like, what, 150 to 200 maybe? I guess maybe they even age this at a different rate, too.
Yeah.
It depends on if they're actually teenagers or if they go from,
Well, I mean,
Rebel, I will.
like 100 years of complete assholism coming out of.
Oh, God.
Sorry, yeah.
But you think about it, like this species, it's been discussed in other Star Wars lore that it's an incredibly rare species, that they are all incredibly like powerful with the Force. So this could be one of those things that they hit a certain age and they actually grow up really fast. It has a lot to do with the Force and their
Could be.
control over it.
Yeah,
we
don't know.
even the robot said all species age differently.
That's true. So maybe it has a sort of adolescence.
Yeah.
It's not like he has to go through a growth to a height spurt.
No, yeah, he's already like half
Adolescents,
tall.
that could just be us. Maybe they go from to responsible.
Maybe
Yeah.
he goes into a cocoon period for a couple
Yeah.
of years and comes out grown up.
But
also that means that 2 Yodas of this species did actually procreate.
Yeah.
That's a disturbing thought.
How do you know they procreated? We don't know about their species.
Maybe they just lay
Maybe
eggs,
they laid
man.
eggs. We
Another one
don't
comes along and
know.
fertilizes it later.
you don't know. We don't know. But
Never talked about.
we'll move in since we're doing
Just
2
spontaneous
episodes.
creation by midi-chlorians.
There we go.
Also possible.
Moving straight in now, we'll move into the second episode 2, since we got to do 2 episodes.
And this is a video game. In my opinion, this one, if I loved it, would be a side quest.
You can
Because
say
I think
yes.
later on you could take this episode out and he leaves the planet and you don't need to ever see it.
However, with that said, this is the episode where he figures out what we all assumed
Yes.
is that little Yoda. I mean, I don't know what we're calling him now.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to call him Baby Yoda right now.
Yeah, little green guy was like, did his little Force thing,
He's a Jedi.
Rhino, I
and
will stop.
everyone is baffled. Like, I don't know what's going on. Wow, I don't even know how to explain this. Which links a lot back into,
What
A
was-
New Hope of what ancient religion or ancient weapons and hokey religions.
Yeah.
and,
My change is the calculus
You know-
of like, what can I do with this kid?
yeah. A lot of people that. I think the Jedi and the Force is just a religion and things like that. A lot of people don't really understand it.
The average citizen is so far
Yeah,
removed
the
from
average
it.
person is so far removed that this kind of shines some light. They're like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, because if
So-
you think about, like, we've actually discussed this, like, even in, when you talk about Phantom Menace, whenever the Jedi show up to negotiate, and they're like, the older guy, he's all like, oh my god, the Jedi here, this is bad, have you ever dealt with the Jedi? And the younger dudes are like, no, what's a Jedi? Who cares? We got all these droids. And they're like, we will not survive this. Because he's older, he's been around Jedi, he knows what they are. But for the most part, people are like, oh, it's just a crazy religion. They're like, what?
Well-
They might be kind of fast or kind of strong, but they're just like warriors, right? And it's like, no, man, they're like much more than that. You know?
Back to it, I think that except for learning that Baby Yoda has force power, this didn't add anything that we see yet to the storyline.
No, it does. It does
Not
build
really.
more. Not really, but I mean, you can always talk about it. It's always about building upon a character. I mean,
does have character development.
you learn more about the character,
And also
you know?
their own character growth together has.
Yeah.
He wasn't scared about the giant tank. He ran in there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
disintegrated a few Jawas, which is also good for us because, we now know why Darth Vader was like, no disintegration, right? Because, he loaded in that stuff, disintegrated a handful of Jawas. He got electrocuted at the end. Wasn't successful, wasn't well thought out, but I guess, we see where his mindset is. Just, go forward, charge,
Go
charge,
forward,
charge.
charge.
Luckily,
in,
Jawas
go,
are
go,
forgiving
go.
enough to want to negotiate the same person afterwards.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
not thrilled, though.
No.
They were not happy.
Hey, they just wanted their scrambled egg.
Yeah. Scrambled egg, yeah.
Yeah, that episode though, we got to see more of the guy that helped him in the first episode, which I actually really liked that character.
I
Nick
have
Nolte.
spoken.
Yeah, I have spoken. Yeah, he was a good character. This episode was a lot of character development between, I think, the Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. And you're right, we're trying to figure out, because you're still kind of torn on whether or not it's just a bounty to him or if it's something more. And after the baby kept trying to heal him, and we knew what the baby was trying to do, but he had no idea. He's like, he just keeps getting out of his little egg, But now at the end, whenever he helps him, and he's able to kill the beast, and he's like, what the heck was that? He's like, I don't know, but you can tell he's really thinking through this, and he's starting to rethink things, because he's kind of thinking, why do they want him now? This is something I don't understand.
He's trying to also form a bond with him too.
And he's starting to bond with him, and you have to think this isn't about him maybe even breaking the rules and being dishonorable as much as we talked about how he's big about his tribe, his people. And if they're trying to make a comeback in the universe, you start to think about, is this a weapon? Is this something that we can use? Is this maybe more useful to us than it is to the Empire?
Well, I'd also go as far as to say if he was internally a bad person,
Yeah,
that the little green guy would not be trying to help him.
help him.
I think that, maybe there's a little bit of, back and forth. And let's also remember, when he's trying to get him to ride a little two-legged, little teeth thing.
Yeah,
what do we call that guy? I don't know.
I forgot what they called him.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Bungo or
yeah,
something.
right. So he's like, oh, I thought you guys did this. And he kind of stopped, gave the hand, and so who knows if the Mandalorians may be a little force sensitive themselves. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know yet. But it has been a really good series so far. And the Easter eggs, if we want to start going the Easter eggs in these two episodes, it's almost nonstop. I mean, just one thing after another. In this episode, something I thought was interesting is between the two episodes, if you go to Empire Strikes Back, the original, and there's one scene that lasts about 30 seconds where Darth Vader is trying to talk to these bounty hunters, and you've got Boba Fett there, you've got Bosk, you got IG-88, it's like, and all those,
Rogue Gallery, almost
and all those people have already made their showings in the series. I mean, it wasn't IG-88, but it was the same kind of
an
droid.
IG series.
Yeah, an IG series. You have a Mandalorian, which is like Boba Fett. The Bosk race attacks him to try to steal his bounty, and he has to fight them off. And I'm like, okay, so we got a couple more in these next couple episodes that we still can see.
And you have the delicious crumb being roasted on the fire. And
Yeah, exactly. The little crumb monster, from Jabba's palace. And, the horned beast in this, I think, is reminiscent of the horned monsters that were in the Clone Wars when they were in the big pit.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of, just monsters alone. There's tons of also just little Easter eggs that have been planted throughout this series so far. And I think you got to hand it to who's writing all this. I mean, Jon Favreau. You got to hand it to Jon Favreau. I mean, we've had a bunch of Star Wars movies come out, wrote by people who were so determined to make something their own, right, that they turned a beloved series into crap. And now you got somebody who's taken the source material and said, I'm going to create a story within their universe with their rules, and has wrote it well. And it's fantastic. And fans are responding to it very well.
Yeah. I think they
we
rebuilt the ship a little too fast,
diverged.
but yeah, great.
Yeah,
Well,
the ship did get put together rather quickly. Once again, we got to assume that this is a different world. Working on that ship is the same as you and me working on a car, which
It's
Apparently,
an old ship, old cars, easy to
It'd
fix.
be like building a Lego set.
yeah. To them, it's not. I mean, to me and you, it would be like, you can't rebuild a spaceship that fast. So then they might be like, what do you mean? It's super easy as long as you got the parts.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
I think the other deal is we're diverging from the standard Skywalker focus.
Thank God.
Right?
I'm happy for that.
Focusing on something else, something that's interesting, something everyone likes. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's Star Wars, but we're hitting a different side of it.
It's like,
And
what is
that-
everyone like? What is everyone like? Mandalorians? People like Yodas. Go with it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, maybe that's what they did. Maybe it's not. But
It's working.
it's Star Wars, but it's not the standard.
It's the Star Wars universe, but we finally have a story that's away from the Skywalker legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't even like later we're going to get an Obi-Wan series, and I'm excited about that. But I'm more excited about this because there is no tie-in to that old arc. I mean, the
Yes.
world is the same. We're
Yes.
seeing some of those things, and we might see a character here or there, but it's not about the Skywalker
You
family.
want to hear the craziest? Not craziest, but one of the internet rumors I've heard on this.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear. Wait, this is from the internet?
Yeah, this is
Must be
this is
true.
good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Force Awakens takes place 30 years after Jedi,
Yeah.
so that means it takes place 25 years after this. Is that enough time for Baby Yoda to grow up and help out in the next movie?
Obviously. I mean, we already know there's a big break. We go to so many episodes. We get a break. We get our brand new Star Wars movie, and then we get our last episode of The Mandalorian?
Last 2 episodes, I think.
Last 1 or 2?
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I
Which
don't
would
know.
tie this right into the whole thing
Yeah.
again.
I don't think so. I don't think they're
I don't
that
think so
organized.
either,
I don't. The timing is interesting.
It would actually like kind of upset me, I think, because I like this series so much. It's not that I want to hate the new Star Wars. I'm really hoping this next one is really good. I have some goosebumps. I watched the trailer. It looked good. I was excited about it. But the last one,
But you don't want to see a 7-year-old looking.
oh,
Yoda
the
taking out
last
the
one.
So I got one question. Next Mandalorian.
Yes,
So we're I think they're actually calling chapters. So chapter 3.
3. Yes.
So if we scroll through the World Wide Interweb and we look at the original trailers, we see a scene with stormtroopers and the area where the Forger is.
Mhm.
I don't know what we're calling that person.
Yeah.
I feel like that means that he broke the rules. I think they're coming after him next.
I think for the story goes from here, for me, I think he's going to keep it. I don't think he's
Yeah.
going to turn it in because I think he thinks they're going to either kill it or it's going to be enslaved. And I think that they, as a race, have been enslaved.
Or
and,
he gets his bounty and then goes back to rescue.
yeah, one or the other. But I think one way or
something
another.
bad happens, in my opinion.
Yeah, something's going to happen, and I think he's going to end up with it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. That's the thing, though, is I am actually excited about every episode.
As long as they don't keep getting shorter.
Yeah.
There's like, 36 minutes, 31 minutes?
What the heck?
Well, I really think the first 2 came out pretty quick, so I think they were designed to kind of tell a story up to a certain
Tell what they
point.
needed to for each of those.
Yeah, and so I feel like the next stories will maybe be a little longer, but I think they're going to try to hit natural starts and endings.
Yeah,
Also,
I'm glad they're doing that rather than like, okay, this needs to be 45 minutes, stretch it out
Yeah.
to that, and then we got fluff.
and also, something else I want to talk about for a minute, which, and we always, you and me, I always talk about movies and production and what it takes to make them. What about the score and the music?
It was,
The opening sequence,
I like
or
the
the
new-
ending
I like the new
sequence, the music.
yeah, I also like the opening Star Wars logo credits now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I
Yeah,
like them.
it's very like the ending music is very tribal, is it not? Almost
Yeah.
like, and it has a big. You definitely think Star Wars when you're hearing it, but it's not the same. It's not that same legacy. It's like they're expanding and doing something new, but it's still Star Wars enough that you're loving it for what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, my hat's off to him. It's like, I mean, I watched that first episode, and we're all texting each other because we're watching it in the house. It's like, oh my god, is it this good? It's this good.
I was watching
you know?
my phone in the car in a parking lot.
Yeah.
I was like, I got time off work to watch this.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and and Disney Plus in general. I mean, if you don't have it, folks, you need to log on and get it right now. It's super cheap. It's $7 a month.
$5.50 if you buy the year.
Yeah, it's silly not to have it. So, But next week,
And you
now.
get the
for
live
now.
and you get the live action Lady and the Tramp.
Live action Lady in the
Live
Tramp.
action. Don't get me going.
But
Don't
we don't have
even
Lion
get me
King
going.
yet. We don't have the Lion King yet.
No,
Not yet.
not in a couple weeks
Yeah,
probably.
another couple weeks. So.
But
I'm still waiting on actual live action Lion King. Use some real lions and train them.
Yes, the real lions.
well, folks, thanks for tuning in to Fan Talk. This has been a Mandatory Mandalorian. We're going to be tuning in every week and going over to the next episode. So hit like and subscribe and keep tuning in and watching. Until next time.